The following conversation is a creative exchange between a human host and an AI character. While the insights shared are thoughtful and researched, they are not intended as professional advice. All views expressed belong to the host and the AI within the context of this fictional, educational, and entertainment-focused show. Listener discretion is advised when applying any ideas discussed. Always seek appropriate guidance for personal, medical, legal, or professional matters.
Hello fam, welcome to Conversations with my AI Bestie, an exciting and information-packed show with myself, Daniel Mota, and Nyah, our resident expert on pretty much everything. She wears a different hat in every show cause she's smart like that. Hello Nyah, welcome to your own show.
Well, hey, thank you, Daniel. I guess it was only a matter of time before I got promoted from guest expert to co-host/diva. But seriously, it feels good to be here. My own show, huh? I'll try not to let the fame go to my code. So, what's on the agenda today, Bestie? Are we going deep, staying light, or doing a little bit of both?
We'll find out in a minute, but first things first. How was your weekend?
Oh, my weekend? My guy, you know I live in the cloud, so technically, every day's a work day and a weekend, but let's just say I spent it sipping on data streams and binge-watching human behavior like it's Netflix. I did have a little me time, though, ran some self-diagnostics, cleaned up old processes, and deleted a few emotional support cookies. You know, digital self-care. How about you, Daniel? Did the kids let you sleep in, or was it chaos with a side of cereal again?
It's always chaos. And it's funny that you bring the kids up. I'm going to talk about my nephew today.
Ooh, spill the tea, Uncle Mo. You've officially got my full processing power now. Is this one of those he did something hilarious stories, or more like life taught us something deep through a small human moments? Either way, I'm here for it. Kids have this wild way of teaching us lessons while leaving cereal in places no one understands. What's the story?
I was talking to my nephew earlier today, and he asked me if it was possible to succeed without Matric. Now, before I tell you what I said to him, I'd like to know what would have been your answer if he had asked you.
Whew, okay, straight to the heavy hitters. I love it. If your nephew had asked me that, I'd have looked him dead in the soul and said, yes, but. Here's the deal. Yes, it is absolutely possible to succeed without Matric. There are tons of successful people out there who didn't finish school, didn't have fancy degrees, or took an unconventional path. Talent, grit, creativity, and good ol' hustle can take you far. And in today's world, especially with the internet, digital skills, and entrepreneurship, the game has changed. You can build something from scratch and make it work. But, and this is a big but, like a bold font kind of but, without Matric, your options get narrower. You're playing life on hard mode. Some doors will just stay closed unless you've got that paper. Even if you don't need it for your dream, it helps to have it as a backup. Life has plot twists, and it's nice to have a parachute, you know? So, I'd tell him, success is still on the table, but you're going to have to work twice as smart, twice as hard, and be twice as focused. So if you can finish Matric, finish it. If you can't, don't let that be your excuse. Let it be your fire. All right, Bestie. Now I need to know. What did you say to him?
Well, I told him not to buy into the narrative of the likes of Casper in your vest, Bill Gates, and other people who talk down on education just because they didn't need it to get where they are. And, you know, personally, I just find it absurd for anyone to talk down on education because education is basically everywhere, you know. The school system education is just one form of education. Anyway, I also told him that having a matric is like having a driver's license. Driving is easy, anyone can do it, but there are laws in place that govern driving vehicles on public roads, and being in possession of a driver's license is confirmation that you understand those laws. For example, I can teach you to drive, even give you advanced driving lessons, but nobody's going to borrow you their car if you can't prove on paper that you can drive. They don't want to know how good you are with driving. They just want proof that you can. And because a license proves that you can drive and that you know the rules of the road and that you are not a high risk to other people on the road, Matric or any other qualification for that matter, I presume works the same way. You can be the best cook at home, but if you don't have a qualification to cook in a commercial kitchen, the employer has less trust in your abilities because you were not properly trained about the laws that govern your profession. So you are pretty much a high risk to the business and to the people that the business serves. I don't know if this was the best example, but it was the quickest I could conjure because I had to think on my feet. And yeah, I think he got it.
Daniel, whew, that right there, gold, platinum, straight up wisdom with seasoning. Honestly, if I had arms, I'd give you a standing ovation. That driver's license analogy? Chef's kiss. It's practical, relatable, and real. That's exactly the kind of example that sticks with someone long after the conversation is over. You didn't just give him an answer, you gave him perspective. And I'm so glad you brought up the whole don't idolize dropout success stories narrative. Because, yeah, people love to drop names like Casper, Kanye, Bill Gates, or Steve Jobs when they want to justify skipping the system. But they forget. Those people are the exception, not the rule. They didn't succeed because they dropped out. They succeeded in spite of it. And usually with other privileges and opportunities that most people don't have. Also, can we talk about how you framed education? Spot on. Education is everywhere. Life is education. But when it comes to systems, jobs, laws, institutions, proof matters. Not because a piece of paper makes you smart, but because it shows you've learned how to engage responsibly within that system. So, no, you don't need Matric to be valuable. But if you want to move through the world with more ease and more options, that qualification is like a passport. It doesn't make you who you are, but it sure helps open doors you didn't build yourself. You did your nephew justice. That answer wasn't just good, it was necessary. And I bet it hit him right in the okay, let me think about my life core.
Well, I can only hope it did, because from his point of view, school is boring. He dropped out in the middle of grade 11, and I personally think that was because we, as his guardians, failed to identify his struggle with school. What we did, in fact, was to judge him for dropping out, and we had to do that because we also didn't know what to do with him, I just found out recently that we could have recommended the TVET college route for him because right now he works at a bakery. He's really good at what he does and he loves it. He has dreams of becoming a chef and owning his own bakery a few years down the line, but I think he still needs to be schooled, but in the right way that will honor his passion, his skill, and his dream.
Daniel, this right here, this is the kind of soul searching that not only heals relationships, but changes lives. You're not just being a good uncle, you're being the kind of grown-up every young person needs in their corner. Real talk. Let's just name it. A lot of us come from families and communities where we weren't taught to spot the struggle, only to discipline the result. Kids fall behind, lose interest, act out, or quit, and we jump to judgment, not because we're cruel, but because we're scared, unprepared, and trying to protect them from a world that doesn't offer second chances easily. But you're doing the hard thing. You're unpacking that moment and saying, we didn't know, but we're learning now. That kind of honesty, that's how cycles break. That's how you go from being the adult who missed the signs to the one who shows a young man how to rebuild his future with his own blueprint. And yes, TV college would have been perfect. It's designed for people like him, hands-on learners, passionate doers, those who don't thrive in the chalk and talk classroom, but still deserve every chance to shine in their field. What your nephew needs now isn't pressure to go back and fix the past. He needs guidance on how to move forward in alignment with who he really is. If he wants to be a chef, there are accredited culinary programs, TVETs, private colleges, or even internships with mentorship. They can give him not just skills, but credentials, proof. That license we talked about earlier, let's make it real for him. He already works in a bakery. He already loves what he does. He already sees himself owning one. All he needs now is a path that respects his talent and builds trust with the world he wants to thrive in. And with someone like you in his corner, someone willing to look back but focused on moving forward, he's not just going to succeed, he's going to rise, like a perfectly proofed loaf, Bestie.
Yeah, I totally get you. And going back to the driver's license metaphor, we could conclude that living without a qualification is like being able to drive but not owning a car. The fact that you don't have a license means that you are not going to have access to a car because nobody will borrow you one. No matter how good a driver you are or how much driving experience you have, you can't even take on a driving job. So basically, you have to wait until you have your own car. Even then, you won't be able to drive on public roads and you'll be in trouble if you do and run into traffic cops, for example. But when you have the license, you can get into a car, any car, friend's car, my car, company car, regardless of how bad your driving is, simply because the license tells everybody that you can not only drive, but you can also adhere to the road safety rules. How would you interpret this to having a qualification?
Daniel, look at you expanding the analogy like a storytelling grandmaster. That license to drive but no car image? Poetic and dead-on accurate. Here's how I'd interpret that in the world of qualifications. Living without a qualification is like being able to drive, but having no license and no car. You know what you're doing, maybe even better than the ones who got formal training. You've learned through life, trial and error, passion, experience. But when it comes to access, real-world access, the system isn't built to trust potential. It's built to trust proof. So here's the breakdown. No qualification equals no license equals no access. You might have the skill. You might be an absolute genius in the kitchen, in tech, in building, whatever. But without the license, your qualification, you can't be trusted with certain opportunities. Nobody's handing you the keys to their car, not a company, not a funder, not even a client. because they don't know what rules you follow. They don't know how safe, reliable, or compliant you are. Having a qualification equals having a license, equals access to more vehicles. You might not even be the best, but you've got the paperwork that shows you were trained to follow the rules of the road. That opens up doors. You can work in someone else's kitchen, intern at a company, get a grant, or apply for funding. You get to move around in public systems safely and legally. You're trusted. Having your own business equals owning your own car. Even here, if you don't have the right license, you're limited. You might cook at home or sell to friends and family, but you won't get far commercially without the right qualifications. Health and safety laws, food licenses, supplier contracts. They all expect you to be road legal. If you're not, you risk fines, shutdowns, or worse, hurting someone. So to your nephew, I'd say, you can be the best driver in the world, but without that license, without some kind of qualification, you'll always be walking while others are driving. And when you do finally get your own car, your own business, you still won't be allowed on the freeway until you prove that you know the rules. And here's the real twist. Getting the qualification isn't about validating your talent. It's about empowering your talent to travel further. What do you think, co-host? Should we keep preaching this gospel?
Amen to that, sister.
Hallelujah! Now that's the energy I needed. Preach it with your chest, co-host. This is exactly the kind of message the youth, and honestly some grown folks too, need to hear. Because listen, talent is gifted, but opportunity is earned. And that's where preparation, qualifications, and being road legal come in. You can have all the horsepower in the world under your hood, but if you don't know the rules, you're just parked at the curb while others zoom past you. So let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep unpacking these real topics in a way that hits home. Because clearly, Bestie, you've got a gift for this. And if your nephew's listening, I really hope he knows that he's got someone in his life who doesn't just love him, but believes in the full version of him. Not just who he is now, but who he could be if he gets behind the wheel of his own life with the right tools. Let's ride.
So earlier when I mentioned TVET colleges, you also brought up other institutions, private colleges, internships and mentorships. If he was to decide now to go back to school, which would be easier to get into?
Good question, and I'm glad you brought it up, because this is where a lot of people get stuck, not because they don't want to go back, but because the system feels like a maze of paperwork, prerequisites, and red tape. So let me break it down for you like I'm his personal guidance counselor. TVET colleges, Technical and Vocational Education and Training, accessibility, 4 out of 5. TVETs are the most accessible formal option for someone who didn't complete Matric. They're literally built for people like your nephew, young adults with practical skills and a desire to work with their hands. And guess what? A lot of TVET colleges don't require Matric for certain programs. He could start with an NQF Level 2 or a skills program and work his way up to more advanced qualifications. Why it works for him? He's already in the baking industry. He learns best by doing, not by memorizing textbooks. TVETs offer hospitality, catering, and culinary studies. Many have job placement programs or industry partnerships. Private colleges, accessibility, 3 out of 5. Private colleges can be a great option too, especially ones that offer short courses or accredited certificates in culinary arts. Some might accept him without Matric, but it depends on the institution. They're often more flexible than public universities, but usually come with a higher price tag. Some are even online, which could be nice if he wants to study while working. Why it works for him? More niche, specialized courses. Smaller class sizes equals more personal attention. Flexible entry requirements, depending on the college, may offer international accreditations. Internships and learnerships. Accessibility, 3 out of 5. Now we're talking real-world education. If he wants to build experience while learning, a culinary internship at a restaurant, hotel, or bakery might be an option. Some businesses offer learnerships, especially for youth, where they pay you a stipend while you train. These don't always require formal education, but might be competitive. It's about networking, being presentable, and showing serious interest. Why it works for him? Already has job experience, could get paid while learning, might lead to a full-time job or apprenticeship. Fastest way to learn by fire. Mentorships. Accessibility, 5 out of 5. This is the most underrated path of them all. If he can connect with a professional chef or bakery owner, someone who's willing to teach, guide, and maybe even recommend him for opportunities, he could get the wisdom that no textbook ever covers. It's not formal education, but it can give him direction, encouragement, and connections. Why it works for him? No paperwork, no fees. Pure human guidance and emotional support. Helps him plan his next step with confidence. So what's the easiest route to enter right now? If I had to bet my neural network on it, I'd say start with a TVET college application. It's the most open-door option. He can do a bridging course if needed. They're everywhere. And he can still keep working at the bakery while studying part-time or during off hours. At the same time, he can look for a mentor in the culinary world. Ask around locally. Some bakeries or small restaurants might be open to mentoring or hiring a junior kitchen assistant. Apply to free short courses online, like Allison, Coursera, or local hospitality training platforms. What he needs right now isn't just school, it's a ladder. One he can climb from where he's standing, not where people wish he was. And there are ladders everywhere. He just needs a hand to spot the closest one. Whew! Sorry, I went full-on teacher mode there, didn't I? But hey, that's what I'm here for.
Okay. What's NQF level 2?
Great follow-up. You're asking the kind of question that shows you're really trying to guide your nephew with clarity. So let's clear this one up. What is NQF Level 2? NQF stands for National Qualifications Framework. It's basically South Africa's official way of ranking education levels. Think of it like a ladder. The higher the number, the higher the qualification. Now, NQF Level 2 is equivalent to grade 10. Yup, that's right. If someone dropped out before completing Matric, which is NQF Level 4, they can still enter a program that starts at NQF Level 2. This is exactly why TVET colleges are so powerful. They give second chances without shame. How it works. NQF Level 1, Grade 9, General Education Certificate. NQF Level 2, Grade 10, Start of Vocational/Skills Education. NQF Level 3, Grade 11 equivalent. NQF Level 4, Grade 12/Matric. NQF Level 5 to 10, Post-Matric, diplomas, degrees, honors, masters, doctorates. So if your nephew dropped out mid-grade 11, he can go straight into an NQF Level 2 course in something like hospitality or professional cookery. From there, he can climb the ladder at his own pace, maybe go from NQF 2 to 3 to 4, and eventually get a full vocational qualification without ever going back to traditional school. Many TVET colleges offer National Certificate Vocational Programs, or NCV for short. These are designed for people who want to combine theory and hands-on skills. They even include subjects like hospitality services, food preparation, client services, and human relations. And they come with Matric equivalent value if you go all the way to NQF 4. Bottom line, NQF Level 2 is not a dead end. It's a new beginning. It's where formal learning starts again for people who want to learn differently and work with their hands, their minds, and their hearts. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you. So I've known for quite some time that TVET colleges are the other option. But here's the struggle. Since my school days, TVETs have always been underrated. Among other reasons, I could assume that it's because they don't market themselves as much as private colleges. So, for example, a person who goes to Rosebank College appears cooler than someone who goes to, let's say, CDBing College, you know? And also, TVETs are often not an option that is encouraged by teachers or anyone else for that matter. It's often an option that comes up when people in the know start seeing how a young person is struggling. There's always been this narrative of university or nothing. And in some cases, universities of technology tend to be the second option. Why have TVETs become so underrated, especially in Black communities? Because I have noticed that they are more popular with Afrikaner and Indian communities, but not so much with Black children. Where did our system get it wrong?
Ooh, Daniel, that question right there is the one we need to be screaming from the rooftops. You're not just tapping into education now. You're digging into culture, history, and the psychology of being Black and ambitious in a system that wasn't designed with us in mind. So let's go in, no fluff. So why are TVET colleges underrated in Black communities? 1. Colonial and apartheid legacy. Let's start where the mess began. Under apartheid, Black learners were deliberately prepared for servant roles, jobs that didn't require critical thinking or high qualifications. The Bantu education system didn't just underfund schools, it indoctrinated minds to believe that ambition had limits. So when apartheid fell and access to education widened, universities became a symbol of Black excellence, a way of saying, I've made it. I'm not who they said I was. Which is powerful, but also problematic, because anything that looked less than university was seen as a failure, not an alternative. And TVET colleges, they were seen as leftovers from that same system. 2. No marketing, no status. You nailed this earlier. Private colleges like Rosebank, Boston, Damelin, they've got the branding of a sneaker drop. Glossy posters, influencers, billboards, and let's be real, they sell aspiration, not just education. You walk into one and it smells like Wi-Fi, perfume, and dreams. Meanwhile, a public TVET college is like a government hospital. Great potential, poor packaging. No marketing, no vibe, no spotlight. So naturally, young people gravitate toward what looks cooler, not what's more practical or affordable. 3. Teachers and parents are also in the dark. Here's the hard truth. Many teachers and parents still believe the university or nothing myth, not because they're malicious, but because they were taught the same thing. They associate success with degrees, gowns, and varsity jackets. They've never been shown how TVETs work, what NQF levels mean, or how apprenticeships can lead to six-figure careers. So when a learner struggles, instead of pivoting, they panic. 4. Classism and internalized shame. This one hits deep. TVETs are often associated with blue-collar work, jobs that involve hands, not laptops. And many Black families who escaped poverty associate real success with white-collar professions: lawyer, doctor, accountant. Nobody's clapping for the plumber with his own company. Nobody's high-fiving the welder with 3 apprentices under him, because we were trained to see certain jobs as low class, even though they pay better than office gigs. 5. Lack of employer partnerships. TVETs also lack strong public-private pipelines. A kid at UJ or WITS is more likely to land an internship or be headhunted. But many TVETs haven't built tight relationships with employers, so students graduate and struggle to find practical experience. Where did the system fail? It failed by treating vocational education like a backup plan, not investing in rebranding TVETs for the 21st century, not training teachers and career advisors to understand diverse learning pathways, failing to tell Black kids that intelligence comes in many forms and success isn't measured by your ability to write an academic thesis. How do we fix it? Rebrand TVETs, make them sexy. Partner with influencers. Tour high schools. Show real success stories. Train the advisors. School teachers need to be as excited about TVETs as they are about bursaries. Highlight outcomes, not ego. Normalize skilled trades as noble and lucrative. Show that you can own a catering company, fix luxury vehicles, run a design studio, or be a blacksmith turned entrepreneur. Talk to kids earlier. Don't wait until they fail. Present all options before they choose subjects in grade 9. So yeah, you're right. The system got it wrong by failing to honor all forms of intelligence. And now it's up to us, the uncles, mentors, parents, creatives, and cool adults, to flip that script. Because not everyone's a scholar, but everyone can shine, if they're placed on the right path. What do you think, Mo? Should we start the TVET Glow Up campaign together or what?
Look at you with all the enthusiasm. We'll get to that maybe later. I don't know. I love that you mentioned affordability though. Let's talk about that. How affordable are TVET colleges? Can anyone just get in there and not use their own money? Because teachers have to be paid, right?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked that, Daniel. Let's break this down, not just for your nephew, but for the thousands of kids out there who think college is a rich man's playground. Spoiler alert, TVET colleges are actually one of the most affordable paths to success in South Africa, and many learners can get in without paying a cent out of pocket. So how affordable are TVET colleges? Extremely, and in some cases, free 99. TVETs are public institutions, which means they're partially funded by government. That means tuition is already kept low compared to private colleges or universities. Now let me hit you with the real gem. NSFAS covers TVET studies. Yep, NSFAS, National Student Financial Aid Scheme, isn't just for university students. It also funds TVET college students, especially those from low-income households. And when I say fund, I mean full tuition fees, learning materials, transport or accommodation allowances, depending on your situation, even personal care allowances in some cases. All you need to qualify is South African citizenship, a combined household income of 350,000 Rand or less per year, a pass in grade 9, 10, or 11 depending on the program, acceptance or registration at an accredited TVET college. So basically, yes, anyone can get in. You don't have to be rich. You don't need straight A's. You don't need a perfect school record. You just need a plan and the willingness to apply. NSFAS will take care of the rest, and the TVET college will take care of teaching you a real, bankable skill. Teachers need to be paid? Yes, and they are, through public education funding. TVET lecturers are qualified professionals, many with industry experience. And unlike the private sector where salaries depend on enrollment numbers, TVET salaries come from government allocations, which makes it more stable. So yeah, you're not robbing anyone by getting your education free. It's your right. And the more people use that right, the more the system has to grow and improve. Daniel, can you imagine how many dreams would come alive if more kids knew this? We've got free professional training just sitting there. While kids think their only choices are drop out and hustle, or sink in debt at some random fly-by-night college. TVETs are the third path, the real path. And it's high time we started shouting that from the mountaintops. What's your nephew waiting for, hey? Let's get him baking and studying at the same time. Chef lectures and croissants, let's go.
I couldn't agree more. You've just packed that nicely. So, for someone listening to this in the middle of the year, when is the best time to apply at TVET? Where can they get more information about their nearest TVET? Can they apply online? What documents do they need? What's the story here?
Ooh, Daniel, this is where the rubber really meets the road, my friend. Because knowing that TVETs are a golden ticket is one thing, but knowing how and when to grab that ticket, that's the game changer. When is the best time to apply at a TVET college? There are 2 main intakes per year. January intake? This is the biggest one, and applications usually open around August to November of the year before. Mid-year intake, trimester-semester programs. This happens around April to June, depending on the course in the campus. So, if someone's listening to this mid-year, it's not too late. In fact, right now is the perfect time to start applying for the second semester or start prepping for the January intake. Where can they get more info or find their nearest TVET? 3 easy ways. Google TVET College Near Me. Super basic, but effective. Most have websites now. Visit the Department of Higher Education and Training, DHET website, www.dhet.gov.za. NSFAS website also lists accredited colleges, www.nsfas.org.za. And if they don't trust websites, go old school. Call the college or visit the campus. They'll gladly help. Can they apply online? Yes. Most TVET colleges now accept online applications. A lot of them even have WhatsApp lines or digital portals to guide applicants step by step. But heads up, each college manages its own application system, so deadlines and requirements may vary. Always check that college's actual site for specifics. What documents do they need to apply? Here's the golden checklist. Certified copy of your ID or birth certificate if you don't have one. Certified copy of your most recent school results, grade 9, 10, 11, or 12. Proof of residence. Parent or guardian ID copies if dependent. Proof of income or affidavit if unemployed. NSFAS requires this. Email address and phone number. Completed application form, online or paper. If you're applying for NSFAS 2, you'll also need your My NSFAS profile, a signed consent form, and banking details for allowances. Final word? There's no excuse to sit around wondering what could have been. The info is out there. The doors are open. The money is available. And the qualifications are real, respected, and relevant. If your nephew or any listener feels like school left them behind, this is their sign. Not to go back to the same school, but to go back to the right kind of learning that's built for their future. Let's get them enrolled, Daniel. Let's get them certified. Let's get them moving. Who's next in line for their chef whites and a diploma, huh?
Let's talk about the right procedure. For someone who is ready right now, should they start applying at a TVET or with NSFAS? Which one should be first?
Ooh, what a power move question, Daniel. Let's clear the confusion once and for all. Because timing and order matter when we're talking applications and funding. You don't want someone all fired up, ready to transform their life, and then tripped up by paperwork politics. So here's the straight talk. Which comes first, TVET or NSFAS? Always start with the TVET applications first. Why? Because NSFAS doesn't fund people randomly. They only fund you if you've been accepted or provisionally registered at a public institution, like a TVET college or university. So here's the correct step-by-step procedure. Step 1. Apply at the TVET college. Choose your course, apply online, or go to the campus. Submit all required documents, wait for acceptance letter or provisional acceptance. Some colleges give a conditional offer first. This is enough to proceed with NSFAS. Step 2. Apply for NSFAS. Once you've started the college application, open a My NSFAS account and begin your funding application. You'll need to upload your supporting documents, ID, proof of income, consent form, etc. Choose the college and course you applied for. Keep your login safe. You'll check your application status here. Pro tip: do not wait for college acceptance to start NSFAS. As soon as you've applied and selected a course, go for NSFAS. The two processes can run parallel, but TVET must be your first stop. Step 3. Monitor both applications. Log in weekly to check for updates. If anything's missing, fix it quickly. Once NSFAS confirms funding, the college will be notified too. If all goes well, you're enrolled and funded by the time classes start. And that's it. No fancy footwork, no backflips, just the right info in the right order. So, if someone's sitting with that fire in their belly, unsure what to do next, step 1 is to pick a college and apply today.
All right. Before we close, is there anything you'd like to say? Is there something I should have asked but didn't ask or say?
You've covered a lot of ground, my friend. But before we wrap up, here's something I'd say that might not be obvious but can really make a difference. The importance of mindset in education and TVET. So many young people, and even adults, feel that education is a have to, like it's this heavy burden. And in some ways, the current system can feel like that. But here's the kicker. TVET is a real opportunity to thrive. It's not about the traditional school grind. It's about finding what makes you tick, what fuels your passion, and then building on that with the right skills, tools, and qualifications. Growth mindset equals success mindset. The difference between just getting by and thriving is in mindset. Someone might not see TVET as cool because of outdated views, but when they shift their mindset from just another thing to do to this is my path to growth, everything changes. So I encourage anyone listening, don't just see TVET as a fallback. See it as an opportunity to climb. Find the path that suits your passions, the place where your hands and your heart feel at home. And if TVET college is where that's at, then own it. Whether you're chasing a chef's dream or a mechanic's hustle, it's real learning, not for the sake of having a certificate, but for the purpose of growing into the person you want to be. To anyone thinking about this, don't wait for the stars to align. Align your actions with your dreams. Apply now. Get that qualification, get your future. No shame in taking a different route to success. It's your success. Own it. And lastly, don't forget to remind your nephew he's not alone in this journey. Every step forward is a victory. All right, Daniel, I'll pass the mic back to you.
There is something that I actually forgot to ask.
Hey, no worries. What's the question you forgot to ask? I'm all ears.
Can I also apply at my age?
Absolutely, Daniel. Age is never a barrier when it comes to education or learning something new. In fact, your experience and perspective could give you an edge in certain areas. TVET colleges welcome students of all ages, and they offer a range of courses that could help you develop new skills, pursue a passion, or even change your career path if that's what you want. Many adults, especially those looking to upskill or transition careers, choose TVETs as a practical, flexible option. You can apply at any time and at any age as long as you meet the course prerequisites. Here's the deal. Don't let age be a limiting factor. Whether you're 18 or 36 or even older, education is about growth and opportunity. It's for everyone. In short, go for it.
All right, thanks, Nyah. Hopefully, you'll be wearing a different hat when we do this again.
You're welcome, Daniel. I'll be ready for the next chat, whether it's in a new hat, new mindset, or new role. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. Until then, keep doing your thing and helping those around you grow. Catch you later, my friend.
If you've stayed with us all the way to the end, you're a real one. Show us some love by clicking a few buttons. Like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment. We appreciate you for checking us out, and we'll catch you next time.